matter whether a person is a rich person or a poor person, educated person or an uneducated person, all of us have rights. Now, what are these rights is something that we would understand today. To start with, we should be treating others in a similar fashion that we like ourselves to be treated. That means an individual's dignity is something that is very, very important, and that was a concept that was stated long back by Immanuel Kant, and later on this concept was followed. However, there were variation in the views of understanding how the rights should be, what are actually the rights, and how do we need to understand those rights. So, talking about some of the major issues of these rights, first of all persons are equal. No one is made to serve another person, and we should not treat others as a means of our end, only thinking that they are useful for us, but treat them in a fashion that they are human beings, and it's only and only then you would have the respect that would come. So what actually are these rights? These rights are nothing but, in very simple terms, we can say they are the entitlements or justified claims that are there, and these are due on us. So let's talk about right to education, right to vote, right to information, right to contest elections, right to have safe drinking water, right to have clean air. So all these are what? These are our rights, and for these rights we all stand equal, and each other, be it me, be it you, must be able to recognize it as a legitimate process. So that is where we understand what are rights. Now, what are rights, as we said, is one of the very, very important concepts, but there is still a gap between wants and rights. Are you able to clarify what is a want and what is a right? I can say that I want to wear the clothes of my choice when I'm going to school, but that is not my right. This is what is my want. My right is actually to go to school and get education. So it's very important to understand or differentiate between the wants and the rights. Let's take a similar example. When you are there to attend a school, you have the right to education. You do not have the right for uniform, as the case we have discussed. Now, again, a very, very interesting scenario that we understand is why we are saying these rights are so important for us. Some of the most important thing is that it's me and you and the whole of the society that believes that these rights are important for life and dignity. How? They are important for a good livelihood. What do we mean by good livelihood? Basic needs should be fulfilled. Employment should be there, based on which you can fulfill the basic demands and needs of your family. Again, you should be able to express your opinions, be creative, and there should be freedom of expression that should be seen. Also, these are necessary for our well-being. To be an educated person, to develop talent, to develop creativity, to reason out are some of the major reasons we say these rights are important. Because if we have right, we can question, we can reason. So education is a universal right that we say. However, there are rights which are injurious to health. Those are not, when we say rights, they should be for the betterment or a common good of an individual. They should not be injurious to health. What do we mean by injurious to health? Let's say one cannot stand and commit that he has the right to smoke, he has the right to have alcohol. No, because those are injurious to health, and whatever is injurious to health is not considered as a right. So right to livelihood is a very, very good example to help us understand why these rights are so much important, because it is something that helps us to lead a dignified life and value not only our virtues but also to make ourselves economically independent. The next is, where does this whole origin of rights came from? Now, it was believed during the 17th and the 18th century that rights to us are bestowed by nature or God. Now, these rights were in three forms. Those were right to life, right to liberty, and right to property. Both, all the three of these rights, it was believed that we are born with it. It is inalienable. Also, we say that any state cannot take these rights away from us, and all other rights that exist are derived from these basic three rights which we have, or which we have by the way that we are born in this world, and it is something bestowed to us by the nature or the God. So that was the basic tenement that was focusing on the concept of rights in the very beginning. Later on, the concept changed, and it was believed that rights are guarantees that human beings make to themselves in order to seek for or to achieve a good and a decent life. So, to maintain a good quality of life, what are the guarantees that we are doing to ourselves is something what is right. So, there was a shift in the definition or the concept of rights that was seen. Also, the UN Declaration of Human Rights talked about a life of dignity, talked about equal opportunities, freedom of speech, promote friendly relations, dignity of individual, social progress, and all these things to understand and maintain or protect our environment were considered some of the major fundamental rights. Let's say we say there is a need to protect environment. Now, when we say there is a need to protect environment, there is demand for right. Right for what? Right for clean air, right for water, right for sustainable development. So all these are the rights that are there. There have been numerous reformers, social reformers, who have been working for the same. Now, the next is the legal rights. What are the legal rights? Legal rights are the claims which are recognized by the state. Now, each of the constitution represents the highest law of the land, and this constitution has certain bill of rights. In India, we call it fundamental rights. So these fundamental rights are basic thing that is present based on to the history and the customs of an individual country. So based on the history, based on the customs of India, we have certain fundamental rights that are laid down, and these rights are expanded or reinterpreted in the way they are required. So let's say these are two lines that are drawn here. How do we understand or differentiate those? So I can say second line is a reinterpretation of the first line, or a kind of expansion. So similarly, whenever we have rights that are brought about by the constitution, we are trying to understand that there is a reinterpretation or a kind of expansion of the existing rights that takes place. Now, there are cases where people make demand. I can make a demand onto my state saying that I assert my right to education, and I can call upon the state anytime saying that make provisions for my basic education. Now, government or the state, we could say rather here, the state would make the provisions for your basic education. But besides the state, there are other organizations which could fund your scholarship, which could open up new schools, which could open up another co-curricular sections that could be part of your education system, and all this would be part of the education system. Also, another important aspect is what rights we have, what we can do and what we cannot do is very important to understand. So when we say what we can do and what we cannot do is a very important idea to understand that you have the role of police that comes in, and how my life obliges me to state that the laws are there to protect me from injury from others. Now, if I call upon to the police saying that there was an injury that was done, or there was a harm to my family or home that was done, then I am calling upon whom? I am calling upon the state for the same. And there is where you have the role of police that comes in. Again, a very important aspect that we understand is the rights not only indicate what the states must do, but also refrain us from doing something wrong. So let's say if a person does something wrong, this police only has the right to issue a arrest warrant against that person. And that means the right to liberty has certain limits that are there. If you are trying to infringe those limits, there could be a action that could be taken against you as an individual. So it's very, very important to understand what you can do and what you cannot do, what the states must do and what the states should not do, and also what states refrain us from doing. So states refrain us from doing anything which is against law and order, and if that is the scenario, there is a arrest warrant that is there. In case you are doing nothing wrong but some wrong has been done against you, the same police would act as a savior for you. So that is where we understand the role of state and the legal rights. Now, there are numerous kinds of rights that are there. We'll understand these rights one by one. The first right is the political right. Now, political right are the rights that are given to the citizen for equality. So, equality before law, bringing in a smoother process of election, right to vote, right to contest elections are all part of these political rights. Now, these political rights have certain very, very important aspects with them. What are they? They make the government much more accountable, make individual an important entity in the state, and also all the people have opportunity to influence their decisions or to make or take an important role in the decision making process. These political rights are supplemented by what? They are supplemented by civil liberties. Civil liberties are right to free and fair trial, right to express one's own views and protest. So expression of one's views, protesting about against something are some of the major important things that civil liberty holds. So civil liberties, I repeat again, is a supplemental of the political rights that you have. The next important right that we focus on is an economic right. This economic right can come into play only and only when you have the basic needs that are fulfilled. What are the basic needs? It is the housing, clothing and food. Once you have these basic needs that are fulfilled, the next important is the economic right, where basic medical facilities must be received by low income group. You would have minimum employment guarantee or minimum wages that should be received by an individual. So that is part of your economic right. The next important right that we focus on is beyond this, and this is a cultural right. Now, cultural right focuses that you have the right to get education in your mother tongue. For example, you have the right to teach your own language or culture, and that has been recognized for leading a good life, and that is a cultural right. The next categorization of rights is besides all these four categories that we have talked about, and that is what are the basic rights versus the justified rights. So again, there is a difference between the two. When I say basic rights, those are the rights which are essential for a healthy life or a kind of good living that is required. So these basic rights include right to life, liberty, right to have being equally treated and have a participation in the society. However, justified rights are those rights which are prioritized and receive priority over others, and they are required for recognizing something that is beyond the basic right. So right to express your ideas, right to protest would be an example of these justified rights. Whenever rights are there, they do not come alone. They come along with certain responsibilities. If we talk about certain basic right, for example, right to good livelihood, we need to understand that. Let's take an example of sustainable development. So sustainable development means that we are thinking not only about our generations but about the generations to come. So thinking beyond ourselves is one of the responsibility that comes with this, right? So our idea is to protect the ozone, minimize the level of pollution into the atmosphere, bring in more green cover, reduce the deforestation activity, maintain a sound ecological balance, and create common good for all. So that is where is you have a responsibility that comes in towards nature, towards environment. The next is respect others, the respect for right of others. That means if I do certain things and it is not in a kind of public appeal, what would happen? I would not like the same thing to be done by something else as well. So the idea is to respect the rights of others and make sure where the limit is. So anything which is beyond that limit would be not considered as a right. Also, if there is something that could be done by an individual to make a choice, if you are free to make choices, there is another person who is also free to make the choices. You cannot refrain or restrict that person from making choices. The next important aspect is balancing the rights when a conflict situation arises. Conflict situation means let's suppose a person is admitted to a hospital. There are privacy concerns, so you cannot be allowed, or you are not allowed to take the private information or the personal information without the approval or the consent of the patient, and that is where the conflict needs to be balanced. In general, you are free to have the expression about certain things, but in this situation you are not allowed to have a free expression unless and until there is a consent from the patient that is there. The next important is we should be very vigilant about the limitations that are raised onto us. Let's say government starts to impose higher restrictions on civil liberties in case of a national security issue, in case of a war or a terror scenario that occurs. What is necessary? Protecting our national security is definitely important to us, but we should be also vigilant about the limitations that have been placed and whether they are as per the constitutional rules or not, or as per the constitutional doctrine or not. So should a country which is facing, let's say, a threat from any kind of terrorist organization be allowed to curtail basic liberty of citizens? So is that correct or not? In that case, we understand that vigilance about the limitations of our rights is again our responsibility. We must know those. So those were some of the key aspects that we understood about rights. Quick summary of what we did. What is a difference between rights and wants? Why rights are important? The various kinds of rights, understanding the origin of rights, and more importantly, that these rights do not come alone. These rights come up with certain responsibilities, and these responsibilities tend towards thinking beyond ourselves for common good, respecting others, and resolving or balancing a conflict situation, and being very vigilant if these rights are not misused. So those were some of the key issues that we have discussed under political theory. We would be covering many more in the upcoming sessions. Stay tuned. Have a wonderful day ahead.